We've covered full spectrum. You're probably saying, is there anything more? Well, yes, my friends, there is. It has to do with movies and entertainment, and that is done by the Culture Blaster, who comes and goes on a rainbow. Michael Snyder. Welcome, Michael.
Why, thank you, Mark, and I want to wish everybody at the Mark Thompson Show, Mark, Kim, Albert, who I don't know where Albert is right now, but I know Tony's manning the desk, is he not?
Yeah, yes, he's great.
And I obviously want to wish all the Remarkables a Happy New Year.
Oh, that's
This is
right.
such an exciting time of year. You know, and by the way, this coming and going on a rainbow, I just want to say how upset I am, Mark, that apparently you've taken my pot of gold. It really, I come down on the rainbow, I expect a pot of gold. I know you like the pot, I know you like the gold, and I know you just absconded with it, but,
Michael Snyder is the way to stick the landing with this show, says Remarkable.
I like to hear that. And, I love the Christmas season, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah. I have to say, this kind of broke my heart. I was canceled for saying ho, ho, ho on Christmas. Honestly.
Oh, wow, yeah. You got to be careful with the ho.
I know the proper terminology is sex worker, so save your outrage in the chat for something that actually deserves it, please. It's been fun here in Los Angeles. I've had a great time over the holidays. There was a big Boxing Day party at the Cat and Fiddle.
Oh, yeah?
Hosted by music journalist Lindsay Parker.
I saw that on your Instagram. Michael's Instagram is, what's it called, the Instagram?
Mike the Knife 123.
Mike the Knife 123. If you want to kind of enjoy he's always with some starlets or show business cool people, like the kind of people in San Francisco that used to be like south of Market. Now south of Market's where LinkedIn is.
Yeah, right. We don't want any part of that.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's.
But Boxing Day in the UK is a bigger deal than it is here.
Yeah, it's true. It's a Boxing Day it's a British thing.
And because it was Boxing Day before I went to the party, I went next door and punched my British neighbor in the mouth. I'm just kidding.
That's a play on Boxing Day.
I'm a pacifist minus the fist. Anyone who's interested in my reflections on the year, I wrote my annual State of the Michael address. It's at Facebook. And I do want to mention in passing.
And what's your name on Facebook?
Michael Snyder.
Okay.
I haven't changed it.
Right.
I'm still that guy. Okay. But it was a very difficult year. And I know we have to look forward and try to do our very best to bring this country back to sanity. We keep plowing forward. We had some heartbreaking losses. Three friends of mine, Mark Rennie, the great lawyer and real estate guy and political activist, Spencer Coppins, the former manager of the DNA Lounge, and a friend of this show's, Howie Klein, passed away.
Very tough.
And Howie in particular was
brilliant.
He was like a brother to me. And,
I'm really sorry about that.
And speaking of political activism, the former head of 415 Records, based out of San Francisco, he became the head of Sire Records and then Reprise at the Warner Brothers megalopolis. Moved into political activism after he retired. He got the platinum parachute right before digital music killed the sales of vinyl and CDs. The guy was clearly prescient.
That's wild.
And he has been working on the side of the Angels for so many years, and it's a terrible loss. And I do want to say how much I love all three of these guys, and Howie in particular, very close to him most of my life.
Well, I do want to just note, because you brought this up, the greatest loss to this show is Jim Avila. Jim died this year, and it's the greatest loss to this show.
There's always been in this country 30 to 35% idiots.
And that is the only thing that keeps me from weeping when I mention it, because it's so truly profoundly sad that he is no longer with us.
We lost these folks, and we have to plow forward. And
did you bring any reviews? Or did everything here just to kind of, God damn it, Michael.
This is all about the world.
I'm feeling bad already.
We're living in this world. I do want to lighten some spirits, and I do want to talk about movies, TV.
Yeah, some downbeat subtitle movie where I'm going to walk out with a melancholy. What is it? A Holocaust movie today? What do you have?
I have my top 10 films of 2025, and actually you can read about these in detail at thevoicesf.org, where I have posted a column about the year in film.
And by the way, thevoicesf.org, all kidding aside, Michael is a brilliant writer, so you should check out his writing and musings. So go ahead, Michael, please start.
I do want to tell people that we're sort of duty-bound as critics to do these compilations at the end of the year and say what our favorite films are. And we've reviewed them all on the Mark Thompson Show, and I will just briefly mention my top 10 because I think some of them deserve more attention than they're getting on a national level. There are a couple outliers. There's a lot of stuff here in the list where other critics have, joined the chorus and said, oh my God, this is a great film. But I do want to say, in alphabetical order, back at the beginning of 2025, a movie came out called Black Bag. And this is a film that was directed by the great Steven Soderbergh. And it's a very witty and stylish espionage film that harkens back to the movies of the 60s, like The Ipcress File and The Spy Who Came in from the Cold. But it is set now, stylized to look like those old films. And it's set in London, and it stars the fantastic Michael Fassbender, who looks very much like Michael Caine circa 1965 in this thing, and Cate Blanchett as his wife, and they're both in the spy trade. And there is apparently a mole at MI6, and it's up to the Fassbender character to uncover who it is. And one of the coolest things about this movie is cast as an agency supervisor, one of the James Bonds. Pierce Brosnan is in here. If you haven't seen Black Bag, it is so well written, the dialogue crackles, and there is a climactic dinner party that reminded me of an Agatha Christie story.
I can't wait to see this. Why didn't you mention this on the show before?
I did. I went into great depth at the beginning of the year, and you were busy, I don't know, looking at your bank account. I have no idea what you were looking at.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on. Right. Frankenstein, the movie that Guillermo del Toro was born to make. I know he loves this Gothic thing because he did this film called Crimson Peak, which was not great, but it was that sort of goth horror thing. And Frankenstein, based on the novel by Mary Shelley, Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus, is gorgeous to look at. The art direction is absolutely spectacular. And the performances, specifically the twin leads, Oscar Isaac playing Baron Victor Frankenstein, and Jacob Elordi as the monster, his creation, they are so good in this film. Elordi, in particular, is going to get a lot of nominations and has already at critics groups. And Mia Goth is in this thing, and Christoph Waltz. Frankenstein, you can watch it on Netflix.
I love it. I don't understand why you didn't mention it before.
I did at great length.
Okay.
Now let's get into something a little more obscure, and it's a movie that a lot of people have, praised and put on their best of lists for the end of the year, and I'm going to do it too. But it is in a foreign language, Mark, and I know you're going to have to read subtitles, and I know how exhausting that is for you.
There's only English, Michael. I don't know if you've seen it, but under the new constitution that's being drafted by the Trump administration, English is the only thing we're going to allow in this country soon. But
even sign language, I heard, is going to be restricted. Anyway, this movie is called It Was Just an Accident, and it was made by a brilliant Iranian filmmaker, Jafar Panahi. And this guy shot this film in the repressive environment of Iran without official permission, and it doesn't look too good regarding the government. It's a thriller, and it's really smart. And it won the Palme d'Or at Cannes this year.
Wow!
It's a guy's out driving with his wife and daughter, and he hits a dog. It damages the car. He goes to a garage, and one of the guys at the garage recognizes him by his voice as the interrogator who had tormented the guy who recognizes his voice, who had been a political prisoner. And so he decides he's going to stalk this guy and get revenge. And it's funny at times. It's audacious. Really wonderful movie about the chaos and consequences that people face under totalitarianism.
That sounds super intriguing.
It's great.
I don't know why you haven't mentioned this or reviewed it before.
I have. Moving on, one of two great movies, that's right, three greats, directed by the eclectic Texas-born filmmaker Richard Linklater. Nouvelle Vague just knocked my socks off. This guy also did, this past year, Blue Moon, which is about an evening in the life of the songwriter Lorenz Hart with a tour de force performance by Ethan Hawke, unrecognizable as Lorenz Hart. But Nouvelle Vague is kind of a love letter to the French New Wave movies of the late 50s and early 60s. And it's a film about the making of the crucial Nouvelle Vague New Wave film Breathless by Jean-Luc Godard. And it's shot, it looks like it was made in 1961. That's how amazing this film is. And it's done, again, by Richard Linklater. The performances are wonderful, including a guy who, amazingly, a French actor who looks like the very unique-looking Jean-Paul Belmondo, the star of Breathless. This guy, Aubrey Dillon, and Gene Seberg, who was the American screen ingenue who played opposite Belmondo, was played by American actress Zoe Deutsch, who is also incredible. I loved this movie.
Wow, Michael, sounds great. I don't know why you haven't mentioned it before.
One Battle After Another is at the top of many people's best of the year lists. It's the latest by the great director and screenwriter Paul Thomas Anderson, and it's all about rebellion and honor and family and idealism and the poison that politics can dispense on occasion. It's about an ex-revolutionary, a stone guy named Bob, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who is fantastic, and he's like in hiding essentially, and he's watching his teenage daughter Willa, making sure her life gets on track. And meanwhile, there's this crazed colonel who has run various military units that have tried to stop terrorism and revolutionary activity. He's played by Sean Penn in an unbelievably funny and messed up performance that, again, is going to get much attention during Oscar season. Sean Penn is amazing in this thing. Teyana Taylor is great. And it reminded me, even though it's adapted in ways from Thomas Pynchon's novel Vineland, it really reminded me of Victor Hugo's Les Miserables, because you've got Bob as kind of Jean Valjean on the run, and you've got this guy Lockjaw as kind of Inspector Javert coming after him.
Yeah.
It's very good. One Battle After Another.
I love it. I don't know why I haven't mentioned it prior to this, but all right.
Rental Family. If you ask me what are your three favorite movies of the year, I immediately would say number one is Rental Family.
Wow.
It is so wonderful, and it's not on a lot of best of lists, but I thought it was great. It stars the wonderful Brendan Fraser as a struggling and kind of off his meds American actor who wants to make a life for himself in Tokyo, Japan, and he's having trouble getting work, although people recognize him from I believe a toothpaste ad he did in Japan. And so that's a little on the embarrassing side. And he decides to sign on with a talent agency that provides clients with actors who play stand-ins for the real people in their lives or the lives of their loved ones. But Fraser's character begins getting attached to these people, which is not a great thing. And it ends up, it's just a beautiful, beautiful film.
Yeah, I remember hearing a lot about this. I don't know why you haven't mentioned it before.
Yeah, right. There you go. It's really wonderful, and it's sweet.
It's your
and
number
sad.
one movie. That's what
loved
he says.
It. Okay, also on many, many best of lists, Sinners, which is
You're the only best of love I care about.
It's the work of Oakland's own Ryan Coogler. We have a large audience in the Bay Area, and Coogler is the man who first made his mark with the indie drama Fruitvale Station.
Oh, yeah,
and
I saw
then
that.
he became better known as he did the Rocky sequel Creed, and Marvel's Black Panther film was his biggest hit at the time. And now I think Sinners is his own possible franchise, and it's a vampire movie set in the Depression-era South. There's a lot of country blues, a lot of heated activity, and a lot of, horror moments as well. And it is capped by the great Michael B. Jordan playing twin brothers who he manages to differentiate in amazing fashion. You know that these are two different guys. And, of course, the technology allows him to play opposite himself.
That's got to be wild.
Also, the brothers' exes are played by Haley Steinfeld and Wunmi Mosaku. They are fantastic. Mosaku is getting a lot of buzz for the awards as well. It is supernatural horror, but it is so soulful, and the music is wonderful. And there's the KKK. They don't like the idea that these guys are opening a juke joint at the edge of town. Black-owned businesses, not a good idea as far as the KKK is. So you got the KKK, you got vampires, you get these guys. I loved it. Suleiman's.
Somebody was asking, is Haley related to Jerry? But Jerry is Seinfeld.
No,
Haley is
Steinfeld with
Steinfeld with a different. Yeah,
she's related to a famous quarterback.
Isn't she Jake Steinfeld's daughter?
No, I have no idea. I know
Bodies by Jake.
I don't believe so.
No, okay.
But she is she is the significant other of that bastard quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. But I won't get into that.
Wow.
The Bills are my enemy as a Niner fan.
Man,
anybody
you really.
I know.
Okay.
So Suleiman's story, it felt like a documentary, and it is about an Italian. Excuse me. I love Italian food. I apologize. I'm hungry. An African immigrant in Paris who's trying to stay and he has to go through a bunch. He has to jump through hoops. He has to talk to. He has an asylum interview. He has to get ID papers. He has 2 days to get his story together to convince a government interviewer that he deserves to remain in France as an immigrant from Guinea. And honestly, it was shattering, and I highly recommend Suleiman's story. I mean, this guy is sleeping in shelters and working illegally as a food delivery guy. You see everything that someone of this nature has to go through, and it's incredibly moving. And again, it felt like a documentary. Amazing performance by Abu Sangare, and I guess we'll have to admit, like the Iranian film, there are subtitles in English.
Right.
Okay, 2 more.
And by the way, I know you're curious about it. Haley Steinfeld, the niece of Jake Steinfeld, Bodies by Jake. Remember that guy? So that's her uncle.
Did he used to train you? Is that why you're so ripped?
I just wanted to try to set the record straight, Michael.
Okay, fine.
Back to your reviews. Splitsville.
Splitsville, incredibly the funniest movie of the year, done by the writing and performing team of Michelangelo Covino and Kyle Marvin. They did this movie called The Climb a couple years ago. Splitsville is way better. It's about the competitive to toxic longtime friendship between 2 guys, and it is funny and it's messed up. And their co-stars, the women who play their wives, talk about a step up. Dakota Johnson and Adria Arjona, who are terrific in this film, very adept at comedy. And speaking of which, it's amazing how good Covino and Marvin are at banter and at slapstick. It is a funny film, Splitsville. And I will wrap up my top 10 with Train Dreams. We've talked about it on the Mark Thompson Show, so don't try to say I haven't mentioned it. It's also available to be seen on Netflix at the moment. It is a quiet and lovely movie about a simple, decent guy in the Pacific Northwest of the early 20th century. Joel Edgerton plays this guy, Robert Grenier, and he works as a lumberjack. He has a wife and a baby daughter who live in their little cozy family cabin, and they await his return from all the jobs he goes on. This is about this guy's life and about what was going on around him, and it's based on a novella. It was written and directed by Clint Bradley. Like I said, it has a kind of a poetry to it, and it's got gorgeous cinematography, and what a lovely, perfectly executed performance by Joel Edgerton as this guy. I found it profoundly moving. Is that that's your 10? Yeah, that's my top 10.
That's a very impressive list.
Well, there are so many movies that didn't fit on it, and there are a couple I just want to mention specifically. We talked about this on the air. I didn't mention any documentaries, but Orwell, 2 + 2 = 5.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that.
It is a phenomenal documentary, and I really encourage people to seek it out if they can. Regarding the rest of my favorite films of the year, obviously Marty Supreme is... We talked about it on the air last week. No other choice. There was a foreign film called Sirat, which comes from Spain, and it's about a father and his young son looking for the father's daughter, the young son's older sister, who is going to raves in North Africa. And this is a trek through the desert with a bunch of ravers, and it is... Talk about leaving you shattered. This thing ripped me up as I watched it. And it's also filled with great EDM music, electronic dance music pumping at you. And real ravers play these kind of gypsy lovers of the music and the big gatherings. I thought Sirat was unbelievable. And, there are other films like Sorry Baby. I loved Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. I thought Warfare, which is actually up close and personal, in the theater of Middle Eastern war, like nothing you've ever seen.
What's it called?
Warfare. It is incredibly powerful. And there are a couple things like Thunderbolts and Predator Badlands that don't make these best of lists, but were absolutely amazing film experiences. And as a comic book fan, Thunderbolts spoke to me, but it also had a lot of depth about depression, emotional problems, and it had humor and phenomenal performances. And there are many more we could talk about, but I did want to point out my top 10 and a few that I thought could have squeezed onto the top 10 at the expense of other movies. But
let me just review a couple of these.
Sure.
I review your review. It's part of what I do.
Sure.
He mentioned the additional offerings that didn't make the top 10, but because, you only have 10 choices.
Sure.
So these are films like Predator Badlands, Thunderbolts, the Warfare Middle Eastern film that he mentioned, Wake Up Dead Man, Surat, where the guy's looking for his child through this EDM across the desert sort of sojourn.
Yeah. The Blue Moon, which I mentioned in passing when I talked about Linklater's wonderful Nouvelle Vague, that's something absolutely worth watching.
Marty Supreme, he mentioned. If you've seen it, he spoke lovingly of it when he was here before. I sleep through most of what he said, but apparently he was quite high on that. Orwell 2 + 2 = 5 is a must-see.
As is, speaking of documentaries, Riefenstahl, which is the movie about Leni Riefenstahl, the propagandist for the Nazis. It is. It's just so good. I mean, oh my God, what a life, and the horrors of the Third Reich on display.
Train Dreams, the Joel Edgerton offering, works as the lumberjack, written and directed by Clint Bradley. Beautiful film, and Michael puts it on his top 10.
I do.
Splitsville, the funniest movie of the year. Competitive Friendship, Dakota Johnson, Arjar Jonah. Yeah.
Those women, beautiful, and they turn out to be pretty damn funny opposite our two anti-heroes.
Splitsville, he really likes. Suleiman's story, which is the immigrant story where you really are brought inside the plight and struggle of someone who's trying to survive in this country while trying to get a foothold in this country.
Right, in the country being France, and unbelievable.
It is a subtitle film.
It is.
Sinners is the Ryan Coogler film, the Depression-era vampire movie with Michael B. Jordan playing 2 parts. Apparently, it is wonderful. You raved about it the first time when it was first coming out, and you rave about it again.
And it is a bit gory.
Why are you yelling?
It is a bit gory.
Yes. For you fans of gore, you will be happy. Rental Family may be his favorite movie of the year. Brendan Fraser, standing in for real people. I just love the premise. And it's in Japan, right? Where
he's set in Tokyo.
An American in Japan.
Yeah, he has decided he's going to make his life there. And we find out in bits and pieces why. And, the Japanese cast, by the way, names you wouldn't necessarily recognize are all uniformly wonderful, too.
One battle after another. Director and screenwriter Paul Thomas Anderson with a winner.
Why are you yelling?
Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Tiana Taylor. This is a great movie. And Michael Snyder puts it on his top 10 list. Nouvelle Vague, the Richard Linklater movie. Blue Moon was directed by Linklater, as was noted earlier.
Yeah.
It is a love letter film about making a movie. Looks like it was made in 1961. It has the authenticity of the time. And it even has sort of the look. Some of the performers actually have the look of the performers that they are, I guess, memorializing.
The filmmakers who were a part of the Cahiers de Cinema, which was the group of movie makers and pundits, some of them are familiar to the eye if you pay any attention to French cinema. I mean, they found actors that look like Jean Cocteau and Truffaut as a young man, and and Jean-Luc Godard, the guy who is the director of the movie that is the central focus of this film. He directed Breathless. Wow. I mean, the aspect ratio, the black and white film grain, they did everything to make it look like of the time.
Wow. Nouvelle Vague. It was just an accident. Foreign language Iranian film. It's a thriller. And it won the Palme d'Or at Cannes.
Why are you yelling?
And so what I think I'm going to do is before even Monday's show, I will have seen It Was Just an Accident. It's streaming, right?
Maybe. Good luck. I have no idea.
Oh, my God.
I saw it months ago. Come on,
Yeah, but
man.
don't you think as a critic you have some responsibility to tell me where I can see it?
Google it.
Okay.
Google it.
It Was Just an Accident is what it's called.
It is, yeah.
Frankenstein is the Guillermo del Toro offering, and Michael says he was born to make it.
Why are you yelling?
Gorgeous to look at and brilliantly performed. Frankenstein is available, I believe, to stream.
On Netflix, as is Train Dreams, and I believe Nouvelle Vague, too.
Black Bag is the film that led off the top 10 list, and of course he does it in alphabetical order, so he's not saying it's the best movie of the year, but he's saying it's in his top 10 favorite films. It's the Soderbergh movie. Fassbender and Blanchett.
Awesome.
Sounds and looks like it's something I'm really going to enjoy. I want to get on this.
You can relish it, I think. It'll be a pleasure for, It's
kind of got a 60s spy thing
right.
Associated with it. Black Bag is what it's called.
Yeah, there are cell phones. It's modern, but it's got the vibe, which I thought was kind of inspired.
I'm very, very excited about all of these films, some of which, I'll be honest with you, Michael, I needed to be reminded of. I have a lot on my mind, and I can't remember every movie that I've got to see.
I understand that, Mark.
And what I'm saying is, when I talk about myself, I'm really talking about the average person who's listening and watching. That's why I mention it.
Right.
I'm, of course, a selfless individual. I'm talking about others who might have also forgotten many of these offerings to which you've referred through the month.
That's why we're jogging their memories, and that's why I also encourage people to go to thevoicesf.org to read the piece on the top 10 films and see the list of 15 more. And again, I'm glad to have mentioned the Orwell film, Thunderbolts, and a couple others that didn't make even the fine 15 because you can only fit so many movies on these lists. I do want to quickly say we've been putting this on hold, and I want to talk about it because we have a Bay Area audience as well as an LA audience and indeed an international audience. And we've mentioned Netflix before, and I'm not trying to kiss up to them because they're about to purchase Warner Brothers and I need access, but they have been doing a sitcom. It's on its second season. It's called A Man on the Inside, which is shot in San Francisco and is set in San Francisco. And it is thoroughly entertaining, and it stars that old smoothie and comedy veteran Ted Danson as a retired academic, kind of lonely and depressed since the death of his wife, until he's hired by a private investigator to go undercover as a tenant at a retirement community to ascertain the whereabouts of a valuable missing necklace. He's come back in a second season where he is attached to a university where there's a stolen laptop, and there he leans on his academic background to portray an adjunct professor. Danson is wonderful. The supporting cast is wonderful. My friend, the wonderful, speaking of wonderful, Jill, I'm just blown away by, and she happens to be the wife of, she's the wife of Tom Kenny, but Jill Talley.
Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob.
But Jill Talley, his wife, portrays the provost at the college, and it's so great to see her get a meaty role opposite Ted Danson and other great supporting players, including like Gary Cole and Max Greenfield. I highly recommend A Man on the Inside. And again, a lot of the scenes are shot in San Francisco. This isn't like Full House, where they shot the thing in Los Angeles on a soundstage and did a couple of exteriors. Much more work is done in the beautiful city that I call my home, despite loving my time in Los Angeles as well.
Well, you've said a lot, Culture Blaster, and I have reviewed as much as I can. Sadly, the sand in the hourglass has passed through. And so we must remind everyone they want to read the Culture Blaster. In some ways, he's best enjoyed in the work that he writes, even more than the work that he shares with the oratory that is a gift that you also have.
How dare you? Or thank you.
Find Michael Snyder at thevoicesf.org. Find him here on typically Fridays, but in this case, he made a special trip.
New Year's Eve, and in fact, you can find me tonight at the Formosa, the legendary Formosa, where I will be spending New Year's Eve at the Constellation Club, dancing and being convivial, and encourage everybody to show up there.
Always have good stuff going. Look for the beret that the Snyder wears all the time, and the Culture Blaster may even deign to speak to you for a moment or two. He's kind of effete.
Oh, please.
But when he gets past his snobbery, he can be charming.
I'm so approachable.
Thank you, Culture Blaster. Bye-bye, Michael.
Bye, guys, and go Niners. You are making me happy, team.
Yeah.
The Mark Thompson Show.
This is Mark Thompson.